Hi there, welcome to this episode. Now look, we've had a couple of weekends where the videos have been errant. You'll have to excuse me for that. I've been so busy building the 5.4s that I just didn't have time to get stuff filmed and edited. But look, hopefully we're back on track now. And I've had quite a few questions since I started doing these videos. Someone sees a bike in the background and they go, oh, that orange bike in the background, what's that? So look, it's beautiful weather. I thought I'd get my garage, as it were, out in the sunshine and just give you a rundown. These 5 beauties behind me are all mine. I love them all. They're not laid out in any particular order other than I thought I'd do it size-wise. So biggest that end, smallest CC that end. So here they are. I love them all. And they all get ridden depending on what I'm doing and how the mood takes me. So I'm going to start at this end and work my way down. So Harry, come with me and we'll go through them. Now, this is a Harley Night Train, 2001 carburettor model. I did it up on a program with Henry Cole, Find It, Fix It, Flog It. He found it in a barn with a friend of ours, Alan, and I just fell in love with it. I had to have it. So I rode away on it off the set when it was being filmed the final day, when it was being revealed back to Alan, and I've had it ever since. I absolutely love it. It's my general ride. So this is my go-to, especially if I've got distance to go. I mean, at the moment I'm filming another series with Henry and Alan Millyard, and I'm down to Oxfordshire a lot, and I've got to stay overnight because I'll do 3 or 4 days down there. So I've got the panniers on it. Obviously they're not standard. A lot of people on Facebook, when I've posted pictures, have gone, oh, you've ruined it, you shouldn't put hard cases on a night train. I don't care about all that. This is my ride and I'll have it how I want it, thank you very much. So it's got burly pullback bars. They're beautifully comfy. I've put footboards on because it has highway pegs normally, and I just found on the motorway all day, because my legs are short, they won't overreach, but when you're doing 70 or more, your feet fall off the pegs after a long while, and I started getting leg cramps. So I put the footboards on, and also because my legs are short, I can be there riding, or I can be here, I can move around a bit, and I just find this so comfy. I've got 3 different seats. I've got a gunfighter, which looks nice. I've got an Ultima single seat, a really low one. That's lovely, and I have that on there quite a lot. But because at the moment I'm filming and doing a lot of miles, I've just put the most comfy go-to one. I don't absolutely prefer the look of this one, but in this setup, this is my go-to position for doing mileage. So yeah, panniers. I've got a little rack on the back. I've got a leather pad here, so I can put a big roll bag on the back with all my camping stuff in. What else have I done to this? My mate Mark, he made the wooden grips for it. These are English light oak. I've got my Beeline sat nav, and that's in the perfect place to me. It's right in my peripheral vision when I'm riding. I don't have to keep looking down. So that's great. I've got a quartz clock on the steering head, so I know the time. I like, oh, am I going to be late? It's easy. I've got that there. And I've got my little Von Dutch Ratfink Lucky mascot. Also, I've got a Guardian bell that my son gave me. I have those on most bikes. Not all of these have got one, actually. So some of them, I'm waiting for people. They've got to be given to you. So when I next get given a Guardian bell, this has got one. The CB1100, that's got one. The Sportster's got one. That was on it when I got it, that little orange one right by the front wheel. But the other 2 haven't, so I've got to sort that out. But you've got to be given them or they don't work. So look, this is my go-to bike. It's a 1450 twin cam, last year of the carburettor model, and I just love it. So the only thing I don't like, I've done a video on these before, these clipper things. I hate them. I just want a key. But look, this is what's on it. So I've got to put up with it. You click it twice, quickly. The indicators flash. Now, all things being equal, turn the fuel on. That should start. I'm in neutral. There we go. It's got some sort of drag pipes. They are baffled. This is just a lovely thing. I fully serviced it the other day. All the oils have been done. this is ready for the summer. That'll do 5,000 miles now, hopefully trouble free. And there it is. It's just a lovely thing. So, right, there, that's that one. You can see why I like it. Also, I've got this little leather pouch on. You know, over years, you add bits to bikes. I do, anyway. Now, I had that when I was 17 dispatch riding, and it had all my bits and pieces in it on my belt. So now I've just put a strap across this leather pad here. And that's it. I've got goggle wipe, and I put my glasses in there, so when I pull up there to hand easily, I haven't got to rummage through my pockets. What else have I done? It's got a one-off air filter cover. It's got a K&M filter with a stage 1 conversion. So that's a kind of, well, it's not a one-off, the guy made two. So it's got a lovely mirror polished alloy handmade cover there. And I think that's about it. Oh, I put these indicators on because when I put the panniers on, the other ones, well, they had to be relocated. You wouldn't have been able to get the panniers on. So it's got Screaming Eagle HT leads. So look, there's lots of little bits and pieces on that, and it's totally tailored for me. And if people don't like it, well, I don't care. I love it. So that's that one. Moving on to this one. This is my personal 5.4. Now the production run of these were in candy red, blue and pearl white. I love that colour. It's the Honda Racing colours, but I built 45 of those in a 2-year period on my own. Mega work. Got absolutely burnt out doing it because these were time consuming to build. It's got an aluminium hand rolled fairing. It's got an aluminium tailpiece that comes off with the key, and then you've got all your toolkit and thing as standard. So this is very similar to a production one, but because it's mine, I wanted to ring the changes. So it's easier for me to tell the changes from a standard one. You can look up the standard one on the 5.4 website. The differences are, I'll try and get this right, this has got the gold forks, calipers, rear shocks with yellow springs, because the production ones had to be based on either a black or silver model, and this one was about to be discontinued when I was starting production. So Honda said, Skid, we won't be able to get enough of these gold fork ones. So the production ones had either black or silver forks and swinging arms and engine covers, etc. But my prototype I built had the gold forks, and for myself I wanted the gold fork one. So I hunted high and low and found this one brand new, still in a box. It had been in the dealers for 2 years, so I snapped that up. This had a black tank originally in the gold forks. Now the production ones have a black front mudguard. Just to ring the changes, that was based on Kenny Roberts' TZ Yamaha. There's a photo that I posted on my Facebook of him on the banking at Daytona. And I know it's a Yamaha and it's Kenny Roberts, but that was a yellow and black bike, and that had a black front mudguard. So the 5.4s, as a homage to him, the 1100s, had a black front mudguard. But again, to be different, because it's mine, I went for candy orange instead of candy red and blue. I went for orange, black and gold, which I love. And well, there it is. I mean, Arnie painted this. I mean, look at it. I think it's gorgeous. So it's got the painted mudguard. The other thing it has is the air boxes on them. The black ended ones had the black plastic covers from the 18 model, and the silver ones had these in brushed aluminium, which is what these were. So this should have plastic ones as standard, but I've put the brushed aluminium ones on, and RaceFit, who make the exhaust, got them anodized for me. So those are anodized, not painted, and there's just a slightly different profile and look to the plastic ones with a chrome strip down them, but I just prefer that. I think that was nice, so I had that on mine. I've got the pillion footrests on this, and I do have a twin seat conversion for it. It takes about 20 minutes. You've got to change the plate for the rear light to get the original dual seat on. So this can be 2 up. So I haven't chopped the pillion footrests off on this one. So it's got and I mirror polished them all the footrests are polished, and so that's that. I've got Lsl Bars. The production ones had rental, and that was purely because in COVID I couldn't get the rental ones, so I bought a set, put them on mine to check these were, you know, up to snuff for me for production with Honda, because I thought I was going to have to change to Lsl. So I bought one set, put them on this. they're lovely, and I left them on. They're fractionally wider than the Rentals and a slightly different bend, which actually I prefer. So this has Lsl bars. It's got the Lsl levers, same as the production ones. I went for a slightly different mirror, which has got the machined edges, and they're not quite as sleek as the production ones. So some people may prefer the sleek ones that go to more of a point with a rounded end. But I preferred those, so those went on. This has got an all leather seat, not an Alcantara and leather. And also this panel here ends there on the production one, and the diamonds roll over the edge, but I wanted that banding there as well. And Jez surprised me and did it with orange and gold stitching. So that's a one-off seat as well. Obviously it's got the painted tank badges, same as production, so those are painted. I had the 5.4 logo painted in the number board. That's partly what I put the number board on, was so people could do something like that in the number board. It was framed. And of course I've got my Dennis the Menace cartoon, because I wear a black and red stripy jumper in homage to Dennis the Menace. So Arnie painted I sent him an enamel badge, and he copied it and painted it on. So it's got that. And also these are limited edition, and they're numbered in the badge in the bottom of the 5. This one hasn't got a number. I got my initials GW put in it. And the final thing is the race fits. The production ones had stickers on here that were black with a red circle. Well, John at Race Fit's a mate of mine, and I said, could I put the 5.4 logo in the circle, because it's a circle, and could we laser etch it? So those are laser etched, and they've got the 5.4 and the Race Fit. We announced a link up between us to do these. And it's got the usual, you know, tailpiece and the rear lights set up. And these are lovely. These sound gorgeous as well. That sounds lovely in a different way to this. So this has got the Race Fit growlers on. It's got the cat on, so it's not ridiculous. I hope it starts. I haven't ridden it for a while. And you can see why they're called a growler. I mean, there's a lovely deep tone. It's not ridiculously loud. These engines are as smooth as silk, 6-speed box. They're just lovely. I love the retro clocks. You know, this bike floats my boat. I love the old big air-cooled Jap 4s. And this was the last in the line, big air-cooled Japanese 4s. And that's why I did the limited edition. It's just the kind of bike I grew up with, and I love them, with a modern twist with all the modern electrics. This is fuel injected. I prefer it was carburetor, but I'll just rev it a bit. You get the odd pop and bang, but I like that. This on a country road is gorgeous. It's not too loud. It's just that nice growl. That's got a digital clock. I like having a clock on a bike. I just like to know the time. Not that I rush to get anywhere. I'd rather be late, but I don't know. I like to know the time. So that's that. That's a lovely thing. That actually is up for grabs if anyone's interested. And that's only done 1,000 miles, and I built it for myself. It's a lovely thing. Right, moving on. Now this, I sold a Suzuki SV1000 that I'd done up, that Arnie painted the fairing, and that was beautiful. And then someone popped round to the workshop and offered me really good money for it. I did love it. It was a bit of a hooligan bike, one of those SV1000s. It was way quicker than I expected. I didn't know much about them, to be honest, but it was in such lovely condition, I bought it. Anyway, then once I'd done it all up and it was beautiful and fully sorted, as it is, you just get it right, and then someone offers you a decent sum for it. I bought it. So I had the money burning a hole in my pocket, and I saw this advertised. Well, he was advertising a different one, and I sent him an email going, mate, is that Sportster still for sale? He went, no, that one's sold, but I've got 3 others. So look, this has been imported from America. It's not registered in the UK yet. And he had 3. And I was there and I couldn't make my mind up. I was going to buy one because I had the money burning a hole in my pocket. You know what it's like. You've got the money, you think. And I decided I wanted an Ironhead Sportster. Mainly, I love the look of these engines. They just float. I think it's one of the prettiest engines ever made. I was there, I was looking for hours. I don't think I upset him, but he went, Skid, what are you actually after? And I said, well, look, I want a bit of a project. I don't want mega work. I said, and all 3 of them are lovely. And I said, I'm dithering because I just can't make my mind up. So he said, mate, I think you should go for the grey one. He said, that's come from New York. We knew the guy that had it. He said, it definitely runs. And this is the other thing, I couldn't run it. The other two I was looking at, you could run. And I'm always a bit nervous about buying a bike you can't hear run. But do you know what? I fell in love with it. I love the fishtail pipes. This tank is a Sportster tank. It's called something like a Roadmaster, I think. Someone will probably correct me on that. It's 3.6 gallons, and you don't see many of these. These were an optional extra on this model. This is a 1981. And I like the fact it's got a bigger capacity than a peanut one. Even a King Sportster tank doesn't have the capacity of that. And I just like the shape of it. So colour-wise and everything, this is how I got it. It didn't run. The starter motor, even when you press the button, nothing, not even a click. It had a Mustang dual seat. It had a long mudguard that came down to here with the standard light on. It had been lowered like this. It's been slammed quite a lot. It's got the chrome oil tank. The carburettor was more or less hanging off, so I've made lovely stainless steel mounts. Come round, Harry, I'll just show them those. I'll just show you a few bits while we're actually filming rather than do cutaways. So look, I made all these stainless steel mounts because this thing was hanging down at an angle and it was sucking in air. So I made these. I made the choke mount because the choke was just dangling in between the cylinders on the other side. So I made the choke mount, so that's there. I've put a lucky sixpence in there. It's 1964. I would like to have a 62 sixpence, then that's my year of birth. I'm 60 this year. I'm terrified about being 60. It had no air filter, I put that on. The points cover was missing. The points were missing. There was none of these breathers on, I've sorted that. The rear master, this was just dangling down. I found a master cylinder, but I couldn't get the correct one. It's the right ratio. My mate Murphy, he made up a beautiful stainless steel adjustable linkage. So although this bike looks fairly hanging still with all the hoses in there, there's actually quite a lot of work gone in it. So I've chopped the mudguard, I've done the rear light, I've put baffles in it. Well, I'll start it in a minute. It's still fairly loud. And by the way, this isn't running properly. This is not a completed, obviously, look at it, it's not on the road yet, but hopefully it's not far away. And in videos to come, we'll be filming this thing, and I want to get it up and running. I can't wait to pop into town, park in the market square on a Saturday on this. It's just something about it I like. What else have I done to this thing? Oh yeah, I've put 4-inch curved back risers. It had ape hangers on it, and nothing wrong with those, but just for me, I find it comfy like this. It's pretty similar position to that Harley with the handlebars there. Oh yeah, and also that Harley with the wooden grips, when I got this, my mate Mark, who made the grips on my night train, he came around with these. These are mahogany because what happened was I changed the seat, I found that seat, made all the mounts bolted on. I love that seat, it's really comfy. He saw that, and without telling me, he noted the colour, and he went and made some mahogany ones. So that's those on there. I love those. It's got the air filter. What else has it got done? Well, that's basically it. I've charged the battery. It's fueling horribly. The carb needs completely setting up, but I think it's because the way it was before, it was sucking in air. Now it isn't. I think it's running rich, although I don't know. I've got to look at it properly. It also had the original, which I've got in the workshop. It had the original front mudguard with the chrome stays, a lot bigger than that. That's a much later Sportster one, but yet again I've had to cut it away to get it in the front fork, so even that wasn't straightforward. So look, actually this has had quite a lot of my time spent on it, but it's getting there now. So what have I got left to do? Well, these clocks are going. I'll put them back on here just for the time being. I'm putting a small speedo down here, so it'll have a clean line on the top. None of this lot will be here. The warning lights will be in the speedo, so I'll take the generator and oil pressure lights out of there, put a mirror polished blanking plate in. Obviously, now the ape hangers are off, the hoses are too long, look at this, but that's an easy sort out. And also I'll put braided ones on. These will be shot anyway, they're 40 years old, and these rubber ones I don't like. So they're going to go. Love the fishtails. I put baffles in. It's still loud, but not too loud. I've done the rear light. That's all wired in and working. I made a stainless steel ignition mount to tuck that in there. And as I said, put the choke this side, stainless steel ignition mount here. So it's just a bent little bit. Oh yeah, the head steady was missing. I bought that off Crazy Horse, ordered that in, so it's got the right head mount on it. None of this is done up really tight yet. I haven't sorted anything. The clutch was sticking. I've unseized that. I don't think it's charging properly. So look, the list goes on and on. Arnie said he'll do me a really cool paint job on it, so I think it's going to have Crackle Paint. Now, I've built a bike for Wheels and Waves. I'm the UK entrant, and by the way, when that's out, please vote for that. That would make my day, because it's in a build-off with the rest of Europe, you know, Germany, Spain, France, and whoever, Portugal. Vote for that bike when you see it. I'm really proud of it. That's gorgeous. Honda have got that at the moment, or else I'd show it to you. But that had Crackle Paint, and I fell in love with it. So I can't decide what colour, but I think this is going to have the mudguard tank and rear mudguard done in Crackle. I'm not exactly sure the colour, but look, I've got a lot of other stuff to get on with. I would love to get this registered soon, on get a UK logbook and get it on the road, because, well, it just floats my boat. Now I'm going to see if it'll start. Bear in mind, this has been sat in the workshop for ages. So that's it, that's that. Choke on, give it a twist with the accelerator pump, clutch in. Oh, nearly. There we go, get it upright. Check that out. I cannot wait to ride this thing. It's running horribly. I have done the timing, but I don't think it's spot on yet. But it's the mixture with the carb. It's got a CV carb, and it's a known conversion. Hang on, I'll talk in a minute when I turn it off. So, as you can hear, it's loud. I went to Crazy Horse, I bought 4-inch baffles, because without the baffles in, it was mega loud. So they said, oh yeah, 4-inch baffles will do you, guy. I put 4-inch ones in. It made absolutely no difference. So I trundled back there, and I said, I want 12-inch baffles. And they said, no, guy, 8 inches, maximum. I said, give me 12-inch baffles. I then phoned up John at RaceFit, who sent me the wadding that's in these, which is really good quality wadding. I wrapped those baffles, I tapped them in with a rubber man, and that's what's in there now, and it's still quite loud. But that's also why the carb's not set up. You know, I've messed with it, it's got baffles. I think someone who knows about Harleys told me that these kind of fishtails that are on this is difficult to get them running right, so I want to leave those fishtails on. I love them. I don't care if I lose 15 brake horsepower. I'm going to chug around the lanes on this. As long as I can do 55, 60 miles an hour, I'll be as happy as anything. So, so yeah, look, I love it. I will use this a lot once I've got it. It'll be a summer ride. In winter, I'll ride my night train. So yeah, so that's that. Lovely, lovely thing. I've wanted one, an Ironhead Sportster, for so long. I just prefer the look of them to the new Evolution ones. They're not, I don't think, as good mechanically, and they're a lot more to look after. I don't care. I love it. I don't care if it's cantankerous. I will persevere. I don't mind if it's a bit stubborn. I am, after all. Right, so now this one's been on YouTube quite a lot. We've been doing this for a while, and people that have been watching know I've had loads of hassle with this, with the carburettor, and a few other little bits and pieces. So it's got the fairing on, it's got my badge, it's got this little gonk with the Dennis the Menace jumper on. My mate Mark made that. He makes the wooden grips. He's a genius. He's lovely. He always comes around with a little present. He just popped round with that. I had no idea he was making it. I've been to the Super Sausage on this and Silverstone for its first trip out, and I've been using it generally. I'll put my sling overs on. They're just cable tied at the back round the handrail, so they don't fly off the back if they're empty. I tend to leave them on. I haven't used it for a bit. Hopefully this will go. It's normally pretty good. And now look, all these bikes, well, that's 1,000, that's 1,100, and that's 1,450. And well, you start biking when you're 17 and you're on small bikes, and it's always bigger, faster, better. Now I'm where I am. It's been really, really refreshing to get back on little bikes, and I'll tell you why. It's one, they're so easy to manoeuvre, they're cheap to run, this is no MOT or tax. Well, you have to tax it. I've been corrected for this. You have to tax it, but it's free. But it's no MOT. It's a historic vehicle. This is about to be the same. I've just got to register it, and that's over 40, so that'll be the same. That one's just about to be 40. I feel I'm winning against the government when I don't have to pay road tax and don't have to MOT it. I mean, I keep them in a safe state, so the MOT is irrelevant. I wouldn't really want to ride a bike that was so hanging together it wouldn't pass an MOT. I mean, a warning light on an indicator, maybe, yes. But generally, I want my bikes up and pleasurable to ride, so they're MOT-able anyway. And it's just riding these little ones is really refreshing. And the other thing is, you have to wring their neck to get a decent sort of speed out of them, so you feel like you're riding really hard. I had an RR BMW recently, and you couldn't ride that hard on the road. The thing was so fast, and I didn't find it that rewarding because you're on a quarter throttle all the time. This, you can redline it in every gear, and you're still only doing 60 miles an hour. It's fantastic. It's really refreshing. So, but I use this quite a lot. This is a general little run around. I don't care what the weather's doing. I don't care how muddy it is, how windy it is, how rainy it is. This is a go-to bike to pop around locally, and I am starting to do bigger distances on it. So this is 200cc, single carb, which is supposed to be easy, and as everyone knows, I've had mayhem. Anyway, we've got a Chinese carb on it now. It's perfect. I couldn't get the Japanese one sorted, the original. I rebuilt it and rebuilt it. I don't even know if it needs choke. Hang on. Oh, now we're in trouble. It's because I haven't got the fuel on. Fuel on. Chokes up here. I'm starting all these bikes. I'm losing where all the things are on them. There we go. If I do it properly, it works. That's operator error. So there we go. I mean, look at that for weather protection. It's like an RT BMW Tourer, except it's a mini-me version. I rode this back from Peterborough from the show a few weeks ago, and on the Sunday coming back, it was pouring with rain. My feet didn't even get wet. I had waterproofs on, but it's just lovely. You tuck in here, the rain's over your head, this protects your hands. I mean, I hardly had any water on me whatsoever. Yes, I can only cruise at 60, 65 miles an hour on the motorway. I don't care, the cars in the inside lane were doing that anyway, so you can generally keep up. The only place this lacks is overtaking on A roads. You know, for cars doing 60, oh, you need quite a long straight to get past it. And the only other criticism I've got of this, now I've done it, this fairing catches the wind. Ooh, on a crosswind you have to be careful. I don't quite know how to describe it. If I was being kind, I'd say it's lively. So, look, lovely thing. And this is as sweet as a nut now. It's only done 24,000 miles. So I might go out on this today. Mind you, it's beautiful weather. I don't need the fairing, but look, we'll see. And the other thing is, this does just under 100 miles to the gallon, and that's thrashing it. So, lovely, lovely little thing. And I used to dispatch on one of these. That's why I wanted one now. I've only bought this recently, and I put the Rickman fairing on because the fleet ones that the company owned had these on. So I've put this on. This is purely a rose-tinted spectacles job, but I absolutely love it. I love the simplicity of it. And the speedo, you don't need a rev counter on this because each gear is marked on the speedo, and that's the red line in that gear. So as long as you've got standard gearing on the wheels, that works. And as far as I know, this is. So I don't need a rev counter. I've got a trip meter and all the lights and indicator. It's what you need. You don't need anything more than that for buzzing around. And I am going to do a long journey on this just for a laugh. I might go to Newark Auto Jumble at the weekend on it because I'm filming with Henry and Alan there. So that's that. Now this one. This engine basically is the same as that, except this is a 125, that's a 200. Now, however, this has twin carbs. And this back in the day was the cooking model. It's got a rev counter, that gives you a clue, it might be a bit revvy. It is redlined at 12,000 revs, this thing. It's done 18,900 miles now. I bought this because back in the day when I was 17, you could ride a 250 on L plates then, but if you wanted a 125, this was the one to have. And I love this styling. Look, it is a bit angular and everything. but I love it. It just takes me back to that period. And if you were a boy racer and wanted a 125, this was probably the one to have. There were RD Yamahas and stuff, 2-strokes, but if you wanted a 4-stroke one, this was the beast to have. And I bought this because, look, it's not perfect, but it's very, very original. The paint's original. It's got a few marks and things, but I like that patina. But look at these Comstar wheels. They're lovely. Weird thing I've forgotten about. The front brake on this, well, it's a disc. It's cable operated. It's not hydraulic. It's not brilliant, but it's all right to stop this. It doesn't weigh anything. And because this was the cooking model, it's got no starter motor to save weight. The battery in it is about this big. It's 6 volt. It's got 6 volt electrics. It's twin points because it's a different firing order to that. But to all intents and purposes, this is the same engine as that, just sleeved down with twin carbs to make it rev. Now this hasn't been running a long time, so let's just say I don't normally start it on the side stand either. So I haven't used this really, but you know, as a learner bike in its day, it's a lovely thing, and I just wanted one, so I found this one. This came from Stoke. Oh, nearly, hang on, I'm going to put it on the centre stand. I don't like kick-starting this one on the side stand. Right, now I've got it on the centre stand. It was leaning away from me quite a long way, I just didn't like that. So let's get the chokes on. Let's see if it'll go. Again, I've done the valve clearances on this and that. It takes 15 minutes. That's the other thing. They're lock nut and adjuster. None of this removing camshafts and getting shims out and miking them up for the thickness and put a feeler gauge in. I've got the little Honda tool. That's £3 for to turn the centre bit to adjust it. You lock it off. I think it's an 11mm spanner. It's 20 minutes to do the valve clearances. 2 sets of points. You set the gap. No electronic ignition. And people will say, yeah, but you've got to adjust that and set it once a month. I don't care, it only takes 15 minutes, and I like the involvement of, you know, doing it. I like simple bikes. I mean, listen to that, that's 40 years old. And this, when you ride it, is an absolute screamer. It's really fun. Again, no MOT, apply for the tax, which is free. And lovely little thing. And also the tyres for these are so cheap. Those tyres on that Bentley, they were £12.87 each, including postage. And everyone goes, oh, they'll be lethal. They're not, they're lovely. They're quite soft rubber. They grip like mad. My friends are surprised how quick I can go down a real tight, twisty country road. So this needs, I'm going to put the same tyres on this as that. They're a different size, but the same make, same tread pattern, that radial front. I don't like these block pattern on the front. I'll put a radial one on. Listen to that. Oh, it's not quite warm enough yet, but there you go. Ooh, it just needs to warm up. This does tick over lovely. So I've balanced the carbs, I've done the timing, I've changed the oil, usual things when you buy a bike, and there it is. So it makes me want to ride it. I'm going to go out on one of these today. I might go out on a couple of them actually. So there we go. That's my collection. I love all of them. But that's it. As you can see, I like quite an eclectic mix. The orange Honda, you know, that's only, well, I've only had it a year and a bit, but it was built in 18. So that's the only modern thing here, but that's retro, because that's the way I wanted it. But the rest of them are all carburettor, and I can look after them all myself. They don't have to go to a dealer to be serviced, and I enjoy the tinkering with them as much as riding them. So look, thanks for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed me showing you my collection.